welcome to my show Indus Cuisine, and I'm your chef Basim Akhund. We're back with another newest recipe from the heart of Pakistan. Today's recipe is very interesting and its name is beef Pasanday. This recipe was inspired by the steak you have in the West. Why? Because in Pakistan, you did not have a culture where you could just take a sirloin piece or a T-bone steak and you could just grill it over fire and have it. Over here, whenever you talk about barbecue or grilling, the meat is grilled or cooked so much that it gets so tender it falls apart. The concept of rare, medium and well done does not exist in Pakistan. The only concept that people know over here is well done. It took around, you could say, 70 years after the partition from 1947 for Pakistanis to realize that steak is also a form of meat, and now if you go to restaurants in Pakistan, you can get a good steak in which you can choose your temperature. I am not joking, it's serious that at least 10 years ago, if you went to a restaurant and you ordered steak, you will always get a steak which was well done on a sizzler. So this recipe was inspired by the steak culture in the West when the East India Company came to Pakistan. This recipe does not have a temperature in which you can talk about rare, medium or well done, but the only thing that they were inspired by was the cut of the meat. They realized that we could also use our meat, our beef, in thin pieces and we could make a dish out of it. But in this recipe, we also use all the ingredients which are easily available in Pakistan and which are all desi ingredients. There is no such thing as a Western ingredient in this recipe. It's full of spices, flavor and masalas. For this recipe, what are the ingredients you'll need? I'll let you know. The first thing is you need coriander, which is fresh coriander and fresh mint leaves. Then you will be requiring around 2 onions. Apart from that, you will be requiring a kg of beef, boneless, which I'll basically tell you how to use, cure and start cooking with. And then you need around a cup of yogurt, you need some green chilies, you need red chili powder, you need gram flour. You also need dried red chilies like this. If you don't find these round ones, you can use the ones which are easily available, the flat ones or the straight ones. The smaller they are, the better they are. Why? Because the smaller they are, the spicier they are. Then you need some black peppercorn, you need some ginger garlic, we shall shred those. You need some turmeric powder, you need some poppy seeds, also known as khashkhash in our own language. Then you need some salt, you need some garam masala and you need a cup of oil. This recipe is very easy. The only thing you need to do is you need to follow how the beef will be prepared. So what I'll do is I'll take out the beef and I'll show you how it should be cut. Okay, as you can see, there's a very thick line of fat over here. I'll use a beef knife and I shall take the silver lining out. This is the most tough piece of the meat and it usually does not melt. Okay, this is around almost ½ an inch thick, so this part of the beef I'll save on the side. I will not start scraping it out, it will take too much of time. I shall use it later on, or even if you have some pets at home, you can use this for them. Okay, apart from that, the beef is completely clean. What I'll do is I shall sharpen my knife first. The knife needs to be really sharp, and the tip especially. So whenever you're sharpening your knife, remember you need to start sharpening from the bottom to the top. Okay, I'll keep it on the side, and now we shall make thin slices. Okay, when you make this flap, just hold it and start cutting it like this. You always want this to be equal. So the first piece is over here. I'll keep it over here, and then what we shall do is we shall hammer it down. Remember that you need to hammer it down. Why? Because when you hammer the meat, what happens is it gets really soft. So I've made 3 pieces. The first one is really thin because it was the top part of the meat, and then the other pieces. Firstly, what you'll do is you'll take a cooking hammer. I have this over here, and you shall use the side which has these small pins you could see. Okay, so just hammer it down till the time it is flat. So why am I hammering it? The main reason of hammering it is that the meat is a form of muscle. Muscle means it's very tough. So when you hammer it, the muscle loosens up, and when you cook it, it gets really soft and tender. You have to do this for all 3 parts of the meat. So I'll put this on the side and do it for this one also. Very thin, the last piece, so just be very careful with that. Not too hard on it. This is done. Okay, now what you need is this part of the beef. I'll just take it out on the side and make or convert it into thin pieces. Okay, it should be around 1 inch thick and 2 inches long. So do this for all the pieces. Try keeping them equal as much as you can, and this piece will go in directly. So I'll just start cutting it. And then we shall put this in a pressure cooker. If you do it without a pressure cooker, it will take a few hours. If you do it without the pressure cooker, it will be much more quicker. So I'm just keeping it in front of you. Cut this a bit. And if you can source out smaller pieces for later on, you could also do that. Okay, this is almost done. Now what you need is you need a pressure cooker. I'll just pick up the pressure cooker, which is over here, and I shall keep it on the stove. You need to first place the beef inside. So what I'll do is I shall just pick it up and place it in. Add so much water that the beef is only 1 inch below the water, not too much. Why? Because if you add too much of water, it will take a lot of time to dry up, and also the beef is going to get really sloppy. Okay, so I'm going to add around, let's say, ½ a liter first, just to measure. Why? Because it depends on the pressure cooker also. If the pressure cooker is small, you need less water. If the pressure cooker is bigger, you need more water. Okay, I'll just shake it and just see where the beef is. Okay, you need some more water. So I'll just add around ½ a liter more. This is done. Now what I'll do is I shall just take a little piece of ginger, but never mix the bones. Remember that. I'll keep it on the side. Never mix anything. Okay, what I'll do is I'll take the ginger, just a bit, cut it, and just add it to the water. What will happen is that the beef will get this nice aroma and the strong flavor of the beef will go away. Add around ¼ teaspoon of salt and give it a lid. Once the whistle shall start blowing, you shall count around 25 minutes, remember that. So I'll shift this over here on this stove and bring it to heat. Okay, now we shall continue with the recipe. What do you want and what do you need next? You need a frying pan first, bring it to heat properly, and then what you need to add, I'll let you know. But before that, what you need is you need some finely shredded ginger, which I'll shred over here. Leave the end part on the side because you don't want to hurt yourself. Shake it up and push it over here. Now you need around 4 to 5 cloves of garlic. Leave the end part on the side because you don't want to hurt yourself. I always keep mentioning it. The garlic is done. Pick this up and throw it on the side. Okay, the pan has come to heat. Reduce it to the pilot and add some oil. I'll add the oil first. Bring it to heat. And now continue. Okay, just rinse your hands once. Why? Because the garlic and ginger have moisture and you don't want that to be dripping in. This is what happens when it does drip in, which it did a bit. Okay, just shake it. We have the ginger, we have the garlic. The stove needs to be on really low heat. First goes in the garlic. I want the garlic to be light brown, and then I'll add the ginger. Just take a pinch of salt and add it over here. Tilt it and start frying it. You can see the bubbles. And this is done. I'll keep it on the side. Why? Because I do not want to cook it too much and convert it into this brown texture. It needs to be light brown. If you keep it on the stove or even on pilot, it's so thin, so fine, the color will completely change quickly. Okay, now you need 2 onions. We need them finely sliced. Okay, the knife is clean. I shall just take off the root first. Why? Because once the root is off, the onion will slice properly. Remember that. Cut it from between. That's another root. Throw it on the side and finely slice it. Keep an eye over there also. You don't want to start cooking it. And so does the second onion. So one onion was large, the other one was small. So we need 2 medium onions, so we balanced it out. Always try thinking when you're cooking. Why? Because vegetables can't be exactly of the size you want, because that's Mother Nature. You can't go against it. This is done. Now take it back to heat. If you want to take a look, you can see they're nicely light brown. It's not dark brown. This is the flavor and texture I want. Over here you can see it's coming to heat. Reduce the heat to medium and let it cook for 25 minutes. Now the 25 minutes start. Okay, the onion goes in. Increase the heat to full now. Be very careful while transferring it. Try sourcing everything and try not wasting anything. Just a pinch of salt goes on top and start mixing. Mix it up properly. And give it a lid till the time it gets nicely light brown. So give it a lid, reduce the heat to medium, and let go. So till the time this is cooking, just go for a short break, and once we're back, I'll let you know what to do next. Welcome back. You're watching Indus Cuisine and I'm your chef Basim Akhund. During the break, I just waited for you and I took around 30 minutes. Why? Because I wanted the beef to cook properly. That has cooked nicely and we shall dish it out. On the other hand, as you can see, I browned the onions because for this recipe, you need the onions to be brown because that is where the color and texture will come from. So now I'll just switch the stove off properly, and when it cools down, I shall dish it out in front of you. The next step is you need to add the spices. Why? Because you want to fry the spices. The oil is very hot. What I'll do is I shall just push the onions on one side, pile them up over here, and let the oil from the onion come on this side. Okay. So now just increase the heat a little bit to medium, and first add the garam masala. Let it cook nicely. We want the spices to fry properly. Then you shall add the black peppercorn. Then add the haldi powder. Then you need the red chili powder. And then you need the red chilies which are whole, which are not in the powder form. Tilt it, mix it up, and let it fry for 25 to 30 seconds. This is done. Now mix it back in the onions. Increase the heat. And now add the green chilies. But before that, what you need is you need to add some poppy seeds. Why? Because the oil is out right now. Tilt it. Let the poppy seeds fry for 30 seconds more. And this is done. Now what I'll do is I'll just reduce the stove to really low and I shall dish out the beef and I shall come back and show you the final result. So as you can see, I took out the beef. The beef is over here. It's readily cooked. What I'll do now is, because you can see there's oil over here, so if we add the beef into this, it will start frying. Increase the heat and add the beef. The beef goes in. Mix it up properly. Pick up a wooden spatula and start folding it. Slowly and gradually fold it. On the other hand, you can see over here, this water which was in the pressure cooker should not be thrown away. This is the beef broth which will add the flavor. What people do is they add water from the top or they add chicken cube or beef cube. When you have this, when you've used a cooker, might as well use this in your recipe. So what we'll do now is we'll pick up a ladle. We'll start slowly adding water into this. So we'll add water and then let it evaporate and then add it again. So increase the heat to full, add around a ladle and a half, and let this cook on high heat. When you see it coming down, then you'll add another ladle and a half to let it fry. Now because the pan is too big, what will happen is the evaporation will be quicker as compared to the smaller pan at the back. So it will take around 30 seconds on really high heat to evaporate, and once it's done, you add some more. So till the time this is cooking, what we'll do is we'll prepare the other things. What you need on the side is you need some green chilies to be finely chopped. So what I'll do is I'll finely chop the green chilies, and then I'll look over there and add more water if it's needed by that time. So you need to multitask, look on your right and left wherever you're cooking, and absorb the environment so that you get the best result. If you just concentrate on one thing, what will happen is eventually you shall miss out on the ingredients on the side, and in the end you can't add them. As you can see, the oil is back out. That means the water has evaporated. Again, we'll add around a ladle and a half. Pick this up over here, bring it, spread out. And bring it to boil again. Mix it up. And as you can see, the extra heat which is coming out is the oil which is helping the water to evaporate. And the oil is almost out again. It's a bit spicy, so you need to be careful because it can come in your eyes. Now we'll take just another ladle and add it again. That is it. You do not need more water. We'll keep this on the side over here. And now add the green chilies into it. The green chilies go in. Mix it up. And add around half a teaspoon of salt. Mix it again. And reduce the heat to low. You need to cover it up and let it cook for 2 minutes. Till then this is cooking, what we'll do is we'll take some garlic, around 2 cloves, and at that time we just finely sliced it, added it to this, but now we want that texture. So I'll just slice the garlic around 3 cloves. Take the remaining part, throw it on the side, and then add it over here. Pick it up, goes in, and mix it. You need to make sure that the garlic hits the pan and doesn't stay on top because I want the flavor, and mix it around. You can see the rich color. This is what we need. Put a lid back on, let it be on low heat, and now what you need is you need some fresh coriander. Pick this up. For this recipe, I'll be using the sticks also, so I'll turn it around, roll it like a cigar, pick the knife and go really close. Take the sticks, put it in the bin, and finally chop it. This is done. Take the lid off. And now add it on top. This goes in. Increase the heat to full and mix it up. Slowly and gradually, you want the greens to be cooked nicely in the oil. We waited for the oil to split and then we added the coriander. Reduce the heat to medium and give it a lid for 10 seconds. The last thing what you need to put before the yogurt is you need to put some gram flour. The gram flour won't go in directly, remember that. You keep this on the side. What you need to do is you need to dilute it. Why? Because I want the oil to just come together a bit. So I'll just take around 1 tablespoon of gram flour and mix it in just a bit. So add the water, around 3 tablespoons of water, and the gram flour which I've kept over here now goes in. Just a tablespoon, not too much. Take a spatula, start mixing it, and make sure that you don't find any lumps in the water, because if the lumps go in, the whole texture of the recipe will go bad. So keep mixing it till the time you see the water being really fine. You have to keep a close eye on it. And once it's done, increase the heat over here to completely full, like this, and slowly add it. What will happen is the texture of the recipe will get thick, and when you have this with naan bread, you'll get this nice texture on the bread and it will stick nicely. So small things take you a long way. Mix it up. And this is done. Reduce the heat again. And now goes in the yogurt. I'll just unwrap it and transfer it into this. Now the reason behind adding the yogurt, you know, when you add too much of red chilies, what happens is it's too heavy on your system. But when you add yogurt into it, the yogurt brings the spice level down and you get this nice mellow texture, mellow flavor in your recipe. As you can see, the yogurt is thick. You have to cook the yogurt till the time it evaporates. It will split and then again the oil will come up. So just don't add it, mix it and serve it. Increase the heat because the oil is around 1 cup in this. What will eventually happen is that the yogurt will evaporate and the texture will just get a little light red. That's it. Okay, this is done. I'll keep this on the side again and start mixing it. Fold it again once more. Shake it up. And give it 30 seconds. So till the time this is cooking, what we'll do is we'll start preparing the dish out process and I'll let you know the final look of the recipe. So as you can see, today's recipe is ready. It was very delicious, but this recipe, remember, the oil is of concern. Whenever you have this recipe, you need to realize that this recipe is made with oil and the meat is fried in it. So you can obviously pour the oil on the side and then you can have the meat which is filled with flavor. I hope you liked today's episode, and if you have any other queries or any other questions, or if you want to request any recipes, you can go to our official YouTube page of Indus News, and then you can go comment underneath our show Indus Cuisine and let me know what you need to learn. I'll see you in another episode of Indus Cuisine. Take care of yourself, lovely people. Bye-bye.